For since she pricked thee out for women's pleasure, mine be thy love, and thy love's use their treasure. There is a very, very dirty joke going on in this poem. Nothing, for example, was the slang for female genitalia. My purpose, nothing. So he's saying my male equivalent of the female genitalia, which is on the back. She pricked thee out. Pricked there is an obvious joke as well. So I'm not going to go too far into this, but if you read the poem in detail, you'll find filth, because Shakespeare was a monger of filth. So, Shakespeare's structure. Shakespearean sonnet, which is in fact the Surrean sonnet, as we know, it was not Shakespeare's own invention. What you get in this sonnet is an accumulation of images which provides an overall effect. And it's enhanced by anaphora. Anaphora is that repetition of words at the beginning of successive lines. So, a woman's, a man, I shall see. It's an economical use of enjambment. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right. It's the golden mean. And the imagery in turn between the stanzas creates links between everything else, between the self-contained portraits. So it's a really effective balance. He gets form and matter right. Shakespeare is that good, unfortunately. And that is an ideal sort of sonnet in terms of how it's constructed and how it works and how it's effective. It's got lots of ambiguity and enjambment and everything's working out for it. We'll finish up, I think, with John Milton. Two different pictures of Milton there. We've got Milton as the sort of dandy youth, and Milton as the wise sage figure who composed Paradise Lost. In his earlier days, Milton wrote lots of sonnets. He wrote sonnets in Italian as well, just to show off, as he could. So he wrote this one a bit later on his blindness. And this is towards the end of the Renaissance period, towards the end of the early modern period. When I consider how my life is spent, half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labour, like denied? I fondly ask. Patience to prevent that murmur soon replies, God does not need other man's work or his own gifts, who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best, his state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest, they also serve, who only stand and wait. That doesn't even seem like there are any rhymes there, but there are. Milton is a deft touch. In fact, in Paradise Lost, Milton says that he's not even going to use rhyme anymore. He writes it in blank verse because he thinks that rhyme is somehow primitive. And of course, towards the early modern period, the sonnet fades away. It's not seen really in the 17th century, or rather the late 17th century, and for most of the 18th century. The sonnet re-emerges in the Romantic period with Wordsworth, Shelley, and the rest. So it's got those two periods for sonnets being written, really. The early modern and the Romantic. And you can see in Milton how the sonnet has moved so far away from what it was originally, from what it was in Dante, from what it was in Petrarch. It's not even about love. It's, the rhymes aren't emphasized, the self-containment is barely visible. So it's an Italian form because he's written Italian sonnets, rime incrociate, ABBA, BBA, followed by two tercets, CDE, CDE. Similar to Dante's structure in certain ways. Again, in his youth, Milton written sonnets in Italian. And as I mentioned, sonnets do not necessarily need to be about love. A sonnet can be about anything. It's just that for the most part, they are about love. But it's not, because love is not really just about another person. Love is about oneself. In many ways, love is one of the most narcissistic things we can do, because we go towards someone who is in some way like ourselves. It's been shown that we actually go towards people who vaguely look like ourselves. The late medieval period understood this. The myth of Narcissus was the dominating force of love. So love is a reflection of yourself in another, which causes you to reflect back upon your own mind, I suppose. How many people have fallen in love and then spend ages thinking about how they're feeling? Is it really about the other person, or about how I am in this situation? So we like to think of love in a more romantic way, but in many ways love is something to do with ourselves. And the Renaissance understood this, about that reflection upon one's feelings. The enjambment in Milton's sonnet there, it blurs any formal divisions leading up to that closing line. It's a very fluid process. It reads it almost sounds like prose when you read it, because the artistry is that good. Art's purpose, as we know, is to conceal art. This is the whole point. So Milton does that very cleverly here. It doesn't even seem like a sonnet when you read it. And again, if you see that opening verse to Paradise Lost, the great English epic written in the 1660s, he wants to get rid of the troublesome and modern bondage of rhyming. And once Milton says that and says, right, we will get rid of rhyming, then the sonnet is doomed. Because the sonnet is based upon rhymes, but words which create links with one another, which is what rhymes does. And so you go from that, a more playful age. The early modern period in poetry plays with words, it plays with meaning. And when you get to the late 17th century, to the Restoration, it's a more neoclassical and austere style. The dominant form there becomes the sort of epigram, the witty saying, or, for example, the satire. And it's more rigid. You get for example, another thing that happens in the sort of 17th century is standard English. In the early modern period, you could do what you wanted. You could spell a word how you wanted to spell it. And so meaning and language and words are much more fluid, and you can have a lot more fun with them, I would think. But the wheel is gone full circle, and we are done. So go and have lots of fun and read lots of sonnets, because they are really good fun. And write some as well.